Hello, it's me again. Um, Welcome to this third edition and third module of our lesson on how to make evangelistic videos. Okay, so you've decided to repurpose your videos so that it can be used by our Ligaya members to begin an evangelistic conversation with their friends and families. Okay, in my first explainer video, I said that the best structure for our videos would be to start with a compelling hook. Remember? uh, that will grab the attention of the viewer, then present an appropriate discussion of a single verse in the gospel that will be your central message, and then you will want to conclude with a very effective prompt that can be a challenge, an invitation, or encouragement to go deeper into the topic. In this video, I will cover the first two parts of this model, the hook and the core message from the gospel. You will learn some techniques and examples of how to craft compelling hooks and effective prompts. Okay, so how to design a compelling hook? First of all, before writing your script, I assume that you have picked the gospel already, no? The gospel passage, and that you have decided what your key message will be. You have also decided at this starting point, through prayerful discernment, whom you are targeting your message to based on their faith background. In the previous video, we talked about a variety of archetypes. The nominal believer, the skeptic, the hurting, the busy, successful, and so on. Okay? And the key to designing a compelling hook is to focus on whatever your listener may be feeling. Okay? Or what he has or what he has experienced. And focus on that. So are they secure? Do they have mm, false security? Do they have any discontent? Can you arouse some feeling of discontent there? Might they be hungering for something more? Are they going through strong emotions like despair, frustration, hostility, guilt? You want to build on that. Okay. But speak with empathy. Let the viewer know that you know what exactly that they're feeling, and don't judge. Okay, visualize that person whom you are targeting while you are recording your video, as if you were speaking to that person face to face. Now here are various examples of hooks depending on which archetype you are addressing. Okay, for example, for the hurting and troubled or anxious, you could start with, what do you do when prayer doesn't seem to work? Oh, good way to start a message, right? Or life gets loud, chaotic, and unfair. Where's God in all that? Or most of us carry invisible scars. This is the hook that starts your video. For the guilty or the ashamed, you would say something like, "Do you ever feel like your worst moments defines you?" Or there's a kind of guilt that sticks to your soul. Can it really be erased? Or God knows everything about you, and yet He still invites you in. Imagine yourself starting your video with these lines. Again, notice that each of these hooks are focused on the particular archetype. For the resistant or the skeptical, if you've been disappointed by religion, you're not alone. Okay, this is correct. Some people have walked away from God, but He hasn't walked away from them. Ganda. Or Jesus didn't come to start a religion; He came to call you by name. Beautiful. And finally, and fourth kind for this page, for the seeking and the curious, what if God's closer than you think? Okay, have you ever wondered what Jesus is really like? Not the, what's this, version, but the real one. Now, here are more hooks for the morally upright or for the culturally religious. What does God really see when He looks past appearances? Is it possible to be religious and still miss Jesus? If you want to talk to the busy and the distracted, you could say, ever feel like you're running but not really going anywhere? Or life keeps us moving fast, but what are we missing? Spiritually numb or apathetic, we could talk to them and say, what if your heart has gone quiet and God wants to wake it up? Sometimes we're not lost in sin, we're just asleep in comfort. It's easy to drift into autopilot. What if today's gospel is your wake up call? Oh, for the healthy, wealthy, and wise, the paradox of true wisdom is not what you think. Or what's the one thing that can't be bought but can transform everything? Or even comfort can become a cage. Are you truly free? Again, while I'm reading this, notice that the hook is really targeted at that person's uh, experience and mindset. It's it's focused on them. If you give something general, then you know they may not be interested. But if if you got it right, then they might just wanna listen some more. Okay? Now you might wonder, okay, except that this video might go to anybody and everybody. Correct. No? And that's why before we send the video out to our evangelist friends from Ligaya, we would tell them this video is about this kind of message, and hopefully if you have friends who are like this, send it to them. Okay? In other words, don't just blast it to anybody. Okay? Now here, key pointers for a compelling hook. Again, I'll repeat it. Choose the target listener based on what key message you have discerned from the gospel passage. Formulate it as a question, a bold statement, or a mini story, like the examples that I gave you. And then focus on emotion, an experience, or a held belief that they have. You either want to wake up this emotion, something that's buried, or affirm something that they're currently experiencing. Now, don't sound like you're judging, again, as I said, but be empathetic to their situation. Okay? But it must be compelling enough for them to want to know what your point is. Our goal with this hook is that they will continue to watch the entire video. Okay, let me shift to the core message. Okay, so you've gotten your hook, or one sentence hook, one or two sentence hook. Start with that, and then we go to the core message. Number one, here are 6 tips. Number one, first it must flow logically from the hook. You've caught their interest with the hook, so now what? Okay, okay. Now they want to know your point, so address that. Okay, what's your point? Okay. Number two, choose a single powerful point that will resonate with your viewer based on that passage. Focus on one verse or one word or situation or context, a theme that connects with everyday life of that archetype. Okay? Now, avoid overloading your message with too many 3 point things, etc., etc. No? Stick to one or two supporting ideas to support that main idea, or just one or two examples to reinforce your main point. But don't belabor the point. Okay. Now, you may want to share an anecdote, a short anecdote from your own experience or from somebody else's real experience, but it should be something that the listener can relate to bring home the message further. Number four, keep it human, keep it conversational, keep it heartfelt and non-threatening, and definitely spirit-led. Make it relatable to their situation or the experience or the held belief. So you need to really put yourself in their shoes. Okay, speak conversationally but with passion, authenticity, and vulnerability. Avoid Bible speak jargon. Use ordinary English. Use personal language. Say you and we more than they or people. Generalizations. Okay? Be more specific and address them. Number five, this is not a Bible study. It's not a lesson in theology, okay? So there's no need to explain what the gospel writer meant. You don't need, you know, expect, except if it will clarify your point. But really, there's no need to go digger deeper into the history or anything like that unless you have a point to make that is relevant to his situation, okay? Because you don't need to explain the passage. You just need for him to chew on it, okay? Remember, your goal is not to answer everything or to thoroughly explain anything. You don't need to convince them about your faith at this point. Your aim is for curiosity, not conclusion. Your goal is to make them want to find out more through a follow-up conversation with the person who is evangelizing them. I hope that's clear. Okay, so you've caught their interest with the hook. You've heard They've heard your explanation of how the gospel addresses that hook. So what next? Now we want to end by letting the idea sink in and leave them with more things to think about. This is what we do with the prompt. You will find that in the next video.